In this demonstration, we'll be having a brief overview of 3D attendance and the power that that brings. The first thing that you'll want to do is make sure that the settings are all correct for 3D attendance to work. For that, I'm going to my school settings, and under that, I'm clicking on my attendance area, where I can now firstly make sure registration is enabled, and I can also be setting up all the various codes that are written back to my MIS for the various events that I've got. You can see the full list of codes that are available, which you can select as you need to for how your school is set up. School absence reasons, similar thing, the codes can be set up there. So once your default setup is correct with those codes, the important area for 3D attendance is this register and absence monitoring. So the power with this, which we'll see in action in a moment, is to be able to understand where a student is located at any point in time and making sure that there are no unaccounted for absences. We can have various settings like allowing for travel time between classes. We've got the options to make sure that registers are taken, and now this is very important that registers are taken for the 3D attendance to work. And if they're not taken, then there's various settings to make sure that the right people are notified, whether that's the teacher or the attendance officer, in whatever timing that I want to select of it being overdue. The other important area is when students are unaccounted for, that the right people are notified then. So if attendance has been taken for a class and there are some students that are not present, there is an unauthorized absence, they're not then identified to be present elsewhere in the school by registers being taken for other classes or other events, then we know that there is an issue that various people need to be alerted about. So we'll see that in action as we go through the demo. So that's all the settings set up. I'm now going to go into my calendar, and I've set up an English class, so 7A English. We can see under the attendance tab for the English class, I've got my students that are present. Now I've got the options here to mark them as present, and then we can see that they are present for that class by the this area going green. I can mark them as late for the class, so it will work out. It's only 2 minutes after the class has started, so it will default to that time, or I can specify another time if needed. And I will save that as Amy was slightly late for the class. Now you'll see there, if you had to zoom in, the first part there is red, the rest is green to show that she wasn't present for the first part. She was for the latter part, and as you'll get to see, this is very important for tracking where the students are located at any point in time. So I'm going to say for Clint, Clint definitely has been present in this class. I'm marking him as present, but you'll get a bit of a hint for the calendar coming up, and I'll also get notified about that as the teacher, that he's also got a music lesson that's at a similar time. So he's here for the first part of the lesson, but it's agreed that at a certain point in time, he will then leave the lesson for his music class. So the way that we deal with that is after he's been in the lesson for the right amount of time, we've got this early exit from class button. So by clicking that, if you watch the colors change here, it will then show that while he's been present for the first part, I've now marked him to say, okay, that's all fine for him to get to his next lesson, and that's why the rest of the class is marked as red. We won't go through the full demo to show what happens if he comes back, but then it's a simple matter of clicking this button to say he's re-entered, the music lesson is completed, he's back in the class, which can cater for that as well. So that's the attendance being taken, and I will continue that for the rest of the class. I will get notified if I don't take it for various students to make sure that as a teacher I'm very much aware as to when I haven't taken the register. I will now go back to then mark Clint as present for my music lesson, because he's now left for his cello, and this is his lesson over here, that we can see that he's now with the music teacher, who happens to be me as well. And I can see that I've given him 5 minutes leeway to get to the music lesson. He's now arrived. I'm going to now mark him as present for the music lesson. There we can see that he is now present there. Similar process will follow if he's going to leave the lesson early. So really, to give a bit of a sense to overview the capability as to what we've delivered, you can quite clearly see that when registers are taken, and the right reminders are there to make sure that registers are taken, we can track very clearly which students are part of lessons, which ones have left early for other lessons, and just make sure that they are marked present in the lessons that they're going to. Where if there's a gap, and you can specify what the timing of the gap will be when they are not accounted for, that the right people are notified to say there's an unaccounted for student that we need to prioritize to locate where they are. When it comes to writing the N code back when there is an unauthorized absence, we make sure that there's first a review process within the school where they agree that it was a case that registers were all in order and that it genuinely was a case of an unauthorized absence before we do write that code back to the MIS, just to make sure that there's no unnecessary logging of the N code.